Good morning everyone, today we're looking at another double unboxing. We could be looking at the Orient Contemporary Stretto versus the Seiko Prospex Speedtimer Solar recreation. The Seiko Prospex, that for those of you who might know, is actually one of my own ones that I wear day to day. But we're just going to be doing like a dual unboxing as if it's from brand new. So let's get right into it, shall we? So let's look at the boxes, not going to spend too long on them. The Seiko seems to be a bit more sort of well presented, whereas the Orient's just, well, the Orient has a decent amount of weight to it, but it's I feel like the white one's a bit more presented, a bit more of a nicer sort of way. So let's unbox them, shall we? Now, an important thing to note before we actually start is the Seiko Prospex Speedtimer usually come on this metal strap, but I've had the strap changed to a white one. So, and you don't get the spare strap with it. I bought one separately for it, so it's important to know that you get the metal strap on here. I'm going to try and review this strap, not this strap, when I get around to the strap part of the watch. But for now, let's take them out of the boxes and we'll have a look at them side by side. The Orient box seems to be sort of a bit more sort of cheaply packed together, whereas the Seiko is a bit more plumper in terms of the cushion and the presentation. So here we go, guys. This is the Orient Contemporary Stretto versus the Seiko Prospex Speedtimer Solar 1969 Recreation. So the Orient retails around about £240, whereas the Seiko Prospex Speedtimer, so the one on the right, the Seiko is, I'm going to just refer to it as the Seiko from now on, and the Orient from now on as well. The Seiko retails at £640, so it's quite a different sort of price mark there, really. The Orient has a 40mm case diameter. The Seiko has a 39mm case diameter, so it's slightly smaller. The actual thickness, they're very similar in thickness in terms of they're around about the 13mm mark, and the Orient is said to weigh around about 200 grams, but I feel like that's a little bit lower. It feels a little bit lower than that, than 200 grams. But that combined with this one, yeah, but I say they're very similar. When they're actually got a metal strap on it, they're very similar in terms of their weight. Now, they both use they're actually both solar powered. So they use suns and sort of any sort of light energy, convert it into the battery to keep it charged up. The Orient uses a VS752 solar quartz, whereas the Seiko Prospex uses a V192 solar quartz. So the Orient's movement is quoted at around about plus or minus 20 seconds per month accuracy, whereas the Seiko is quoted just a little bit better at plus or minus 15 seconds per month. Usually the accuracy from actually wearing the Seiko long term is you get a decent amount of accuracy with this, but I haven't worn this and I probably don't intend to buy it either, but it's interesting to see what it's like in terms of comparisons. So in terms of the sort of the similarities here, they both have sapphire glass going over the top of the actual face of the watch, both housed in a stainless steel case, as you can see here. They've both got a polished case, you can see as well. The Seiko has a Prospex, the Seiko Prospex has a brush finish on the actual chronograph buttons, but the Orient doesn't. And they both use a 20mm strap, but we'll get onto the strap in a little while. So the Orient uses a sunray sort of blue solar style dial. You also notice that the units on the 24-hour readout are in 12-hour format, whereas the Seiko Prospex 24-hour readout on the right-hand side sub dial here, same as the Orient, has a 8-hour unit. In terms of the actual chronograph, the seconds counter on the Orient is in 15 minutes in terms of the units, whereas the Seiko is in 20 minutes. In terms of the actual bezel, you can see from the Seiko we've actually got a tachymeter to go with that speed timer. This is something you'd usually use on a chronograph watch, but we'll notice that the seconds hand on the Orient watch is actually a seconds hand, and it's got a gliding finish to it rather than being like a ticking one. And there's no sort of chronograph for this. This probably wouldn't be as good for actually speed timing with the chronograph, but with the Seiko you can actually do that because you've got a tachymeter to go with it. Let's come around to the buttons and see what they feel like. Oh, it appears it's already going. My mistake. Yeah, there's a good feel on the actual buttons there. Let's have a look at the buttons on this one. Yeah, you get a better feedback on the actual Seiko Prospex. You get a softer press when you push that in, and you get better feedback on the reset there. You also get one unique thing with this watch is when it's not in chronograph mode, it tells you how much energy the battery has. So you can see this F and E down here. F means it's full charge, E means essentially empty. And then when I reset, it's a nice wind back function, but it doesn't accelerate back. My mistake, it does actually work as a second hand, but you don't actually have the chronograph. Don't actually have, sorry, not the chronograph, the speed timer. There's a decent amount of feedback on this. I pressed it again after resetting it and it feels fine. But I'd say the actual cushion on the Seiko Prospex's chronograph does feel a little bit nicer. And you've got a nice wind back function, very similar to the Seiko as well. So let's have a look at the crown on the Orient. Got a nice feel to the date dial when you move it out to the first position. Second position, yeah, second position is well defined. And a good strength to the actual crown movement. And a nice firm click down with a decent click. I'm not going to go and do that with this one, but I can tell you they're very similar in terms of the feel. It acts in a similar sort of way to that one. I'm not, because that time's set perfectly, I'm not going to go and change it. So let's come down to the straps here. So on this one, we've got a stainless steel metal strap with a 20mm width, adjustable by little tiny pins on the side here, with a triple fold style buckle. The Seiko has a very sort of similar feature here. I think the strap is a little bit better, and it's got the links are slightly smaller, a bit more sort of Rolex-y really, with a decent double fold over system in there. Really nice, really well made. And a nice firm click down. The strap does have a fair bit of weight to it, whereas the other one, this one, it sounds tinny. That's the only problem. And it looks a little bit tinny as well. It doesn't have a lot of feel to it. I know this one isn't attached, but the actual strength and the weight to the actual individual links, they feel good. But then you are paying sort of an extra £300, so you would expect that. And finally, coming down to the case backs, they've both got a screw down style case back. So you can see here, I'll just try and show you those. Both got that sort of sunray finish on the back there. So there we go, guys. That is the Orient Contemporary Stretto versus the Seiko Prospex Speedtimer 1969 recreation.